Hey everybody, Marcia O'Connor back with Top 3, where entrepreneurs share their secrets and their mistakes. Today is a dear friend of mine for many years, Kasper, who is the CEO of Monarch Staffing. They have been around since 2001, and so it was great to sit down with her to talk about her journeys over literally the past 21 years and where she's at. And she's got twin daughters, and you know how one created an amazing nonprofit, and she's real involved with all that. So there's so much to tell you, but think about what she's learned and one thing that she would have probably chose differently. So sit back again, enjoy the show, and we'll look forward to you seeing your comments. And don't forget to like below, and have a great day. Take care. All right, Laura, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here, and we've been with each other for so long.
For sure.
You know, we're out there. I always tell people we're friendly competitors, and we try to help each other out in so many different ways and our different events together. But 2001, you started the company, and then a year later, you have twins.
It's true.
And you're doing great and keeping it going. And what made you even start the company?
You know, I was in it for 10 years prior to. I was with another firm, as regional manager, driving up and down the East Coast. And, I really wanted to have a family. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, Marcia. I mean, selfishly, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was on the fertility run for like 7 years. And, my husband had a really great job. He was, a Philadelphia school teacher that had the benefits. And he's like, honey, look, if you really want to have some kids, like, get off of the job. Like, you got to stop. So that's what I did. I gave my notice, and, I went to work for my friend at Springfield Ford, Jim Thomas. He was setting up an inside sales department. He says, hey, Laura, I know you know what you do. And he's like, why don't you come over and do this? And I'm like, you can't afford me. And I shoot him away a little bit. But then he came back, and I said, look, I need a company car. I got plenty on the lot. Just pick one, right? So it worked out great because he come to find out he was a father of twins, and he gave me some opportunities to just work there. I'll tell you, if you never worked in the car business before, that was totally boot camp for sales. It was really great opportunity to work there. At the same time, I put my business plan together with the Women's Business Development Center in Center City, Philadelphia, and I wanted to do it for my own. I just wanted to have it local, had a miscarriage through, and I'm like, I just got to do this. And it wasn't working out on the kid thing. June 2001, I opened Monarch Staffing. July 2002, I have my twin girls. And that's how that went down. And 16 weeks of bed rest. My clients really never saw me, but I was behind the computer, and I knew every job that they had open, so I made lots of phone calls. Yep, and we just get it going.
And you
got to
do
start somewhere.
what it takes, and you do.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. The hardest part about that, Marcia, that I don't think entrepreneurs realize is finding the money.
Yeah.
Getting the money to fund your business, your startup costs. I mean, I was looking at money. I mean, it wasn't a lot, maybe $50,000, but I still needed that. We were young in our marriage, and, I needed some money. I mean, I had a great business plan from the Women's Business Development Center. It was thick, and, here I am looking at space because I want to rent space. And my landlord says, well, do you have a banker? And I had been to 13 banks, and I'm like, no, but I have a business plan, and I show him. He's like, this looks fantastic. He's like, you were in it 10 years prior to? He says, I got a friend at National Penn Bank. Why don't you get in a car? I'll take you up to Sayre. And I got my business loan. From
No
SBA
way.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, it's all about relationships. It's the people you meet along the way that really make a difference in your life.
Oh,
and
couldn't agree more.
That's how that whole thing got started.
But that's a great example because, a lot of people would have never done that. A lot of people don't even know that's out there. I have a friend who does a phenomenal job, and he recommends, talking to so many SBAs, and there's so many great things behind it that people are always afraid of doing it. They don't always know the facts behind it.
Yeah.
And so I talked to my friend Ami. Kasper is a great friend, multi-funding. He is out there and helped out so many people with SBAs, and he keeps track of it too, about what's out there, what's not. And a lot of women in particular, don't always take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And
it
was
a
there.
great way to get started. And I would have never known about it had that just thing not happened. So that was really great.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I think people don't realize that too. So I bootstrapped mine, and I felt as if, I'm a former accountant. So to me, I was like, make sure as this lasts, and I know how to stretch a buck, that's for sure. And so it's like, how do we do this and keep track of all your costs? But you get it and you do it. So when did you know, like, how many years into it, and now you have your two little ones, and you're doing all this stuff. How did you know, like, I got this? What year?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, right after I opened the business, 9/11 hit. So that was crazy. But then in the staffing business, it opened up a lot of opportunities because people went overseas.
Yeah.
right? So there was a lot, people needed contract staff, so that was busy. I'm going to say at least it took me a good 3 to 5 years into it to really kind of get into a groove. But things change. The Affordable Care Act comes along, right? Things change. And, the federal government intervenes in your business and you don't think it's going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen. But you have to learn to be flexible and adaptable and go with that change that I think is really key and really important. And that threw us a curveball. When that came out with the Affordable Care Act, because we have to offer benefits to people that work 30 hours a week or more for 3 months or more, and even if they're contractors. So, how do you offset that cost? What do you do? How do you figure that out? So we did it. We figured it out, and we're doing it.
I remember that conversation with you, and I know you were panicking.
I was panicking.
And you were like, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to offer all this stuff. Right. And then you look back at it now like, okay, we got this down. Okay, we can figure all those different pieces and all. But at the time, it's, I don't think the government understands all these, I think, small impacts, I'm like, are huge impacts to small businesses, and they don't realize it.
And on paper, we look like a large employer because we have, last year we had 892 W-2s out the door. So then we had maybe 300 to 400 W-2s out the door. But still, they look at the number of people and then why aren't your people on benefits? But they're contractors, so things are different.
Very different. Yeah, and so it's whole getting moving. So here you are moving forward 21 years later. Okay, you have lots of experiences and all too. Top one thing that you wish you did differently?
Probably, boy, hindsight's always 20/20. They say it. So looking back, I don't know. I think this is something we all struggle with, is sometimes keeping people a little bit longer than I should have on the payroll.
Yeah.
You know, one of my mentors always said, people fire themselves. You don't fire them, but you really have to kind of set yourself apart. That's hard to do. Keep giving people opportunities and breaks, but I can't do it by myself, and I have a fantastic team with me now that is fantastic, but sometimes just hanging on a little too long, I probably should have made some changes earlier on.
Yeah, I've learned to do that as called the rule of 3. If we talk about this person more than 3 times,
that's a great rule of thumb.
Too many, and what are we doing next? Either going to have that conversation, or we do something about it, because it's wasting now all of our time. And it's hard. It's hard, but I tell people, it's not personal.
No.
It's not a personal decision. I said, this is truly what's best for the business, because I'm feeding all these lives, so it's interesting. What do you think COVID hits?
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's super hard.
How did you get through COVID?
Took a deep breath, right? Breathe.
I'm still breathing, Laura.
It's hitting. Take a deep breath, right? So, COVID was rough. I mean, we had a couple hundred people out working, and the next week we had 25 people out working, right?
Wow.
So it was really hard. I had 3 offices, physical offices, and I had month-to-month leases in a couple of them. And I said to myself, you know what? I got to put my money in people, not places. So I cut those leases immediately. And then we really started honing in on our staff. And unfortunately, we all went part-time. We dug in. We had to do what we had to do. We went part-time. And then we, we're all concerned about our wellness, right? Our well-being was at the top of mind for everything. So if you can't do what you do, normally do what you can do. So what we did is, we opened it up and we said, okay, who needs help with their resume? My recruiters are available. We're not staffing jobs. So we interviewed people from all walks of life from all over the country. We did wellness things. We did chair yoga on Wednesdays. We were streaming it. So, whatever you do. And then, we put a wellness channel together. We did the Teams thing. We did wellness. We've always had our CFOs. So we're our chief fun officers. So they were fun. So we really kind of doubled down on, the things that we can do. And I'll tell you, when the things started turning, in 2021, we really got busy. And I'll never forget, one of my clients called and she said, you probably don't have this, but I really need a high-powered project manager, a really high-level one. I'm probably going to pay that person $60, $75 an hour, a really high level. I go, I got one. She's like, what? I go, I interviewed somebody, did his resume over during the middle of COVID, who was a really high-level project manager. I'll find out. Sure, he was available. We staffed him in a week. And that started happening through 2021 and then into 22. We got really, really busy.
So exciting.
But that was really great. Yeah. And we were able to help people and move forward and get people jobs because it was really hard. And we did webinars, right? We did Leading with Courage. We did some webinars out there. And we found that every January, February, March, we do webinars now. This past January, February, March, we did it for interns. So it was really cool. We had interns on from Lincoln, Howard, Wharton,
Oh,
Penn, Miami, Chicago, all over the place. So we have these great interns, and now we're finding them jobs because we also have an intern staffing division.
Yeah,
That's
and so
awesome.
it's really fun to see that
Yeah.
because you become very creative,
Right.
You know, and
They do
you wouldn't
different
have the
things.
time before to be as creative because
Think
you're always
about
going
that.
so busy, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we did too. We did the survival kit, our connector
Yes,
that comes
I
out.
thought that was awesome.
You know, and we did just little round tables out there too, just to say, hey,
Yeah.
what's going on? How can we help? And our office, HR office hours,
Yeah.
that went
That was great.
huge.
I really liked that, Marcia. That
you
was
know,
really great.
because people didn't know what they were doing, and
And
we
you
didn't
had-
know what we were doing, but
But
we
you
tried
did
it.
have time to think. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody paused.
Everybody paused.
Everybody paused. It was a good time to rethink
It
how
was.
you want to make things better
Yeah.
and how you want to move things forward
Yeah.
as an organization, as a company for your people.
It was great. I mean, COVID was horrible for a lot of people, but I always tell people it made HR cool.
Yeah,
it
it
made
did.
HR basically at the table again and say, hey, we actually need HR.
Right.
How about that?
It was important.
Which has been really important. So what about successes? What was one thing that you put into place that you didn't expect such a huge success out of it, but it was huge?
We did a massive change during COVID with our internal tracking systems and our systems use. You know, I have somebody in place who's really likes to really do the process improvement piece because, you know, it's either process people or technology, right?
Always.
So those three. So
Yep.
we really kind of honed in on leveraging what we know in the business and enhancing our technology. So we are faster to the market now. We do some AI, you know, with some AI with the recruiting piece of it. And it's really great because we bring in a lot of people. We're able to narrow down our sources.
Yep.
You know, it's a partnership that we really value and has really helped us really great successes with that.
And that's
But
good.
that came out of the pause. That came out of reevaluating. You know, I've always been in the mindset, you know, if it's not broken, let's break it and fix it. And how do we do it better? Like, how
Yeah.
do we hone it? And I always want to, you know, not that I want to change everything because Monarch Staffing, you know, the symbol is the butterfly. And employers go through change when they're hiring people and employees go through change when they're looking for people. But I think internally at Monarch, we've been through a lot of changes, but we're trying to really hone in and make it really great.
Sure.
For our internal people and for the customer experience. And our customers are our candidates and our clients.
Yeah.
So doing it on both sides has really helped because now we have a database. We can text little messages, happy birthday, you know, on your birthday, you know, for our candidates that are out there. And now we have a wellness app
Yeah.
for our candidates
So great.
that we use, which is really great. It's available to all the candidates that come into Monarch. So offering
Nice.
small perks
Yep.
keeps your candidates coming back.
Yep.
And then also for our internal people, you know, investing in them.
Yeah.
You know, letting them do the certified staffing training through
Yeah.
the American Staffing Association and those kinds of things.
That's a huge
Investing
deal.
in your people really helped too.
Oh, it's so important. Absolutely. I mean, we had so much fun. We actually had a lot of fun during COVID. We made the most of it.
Yeah.
You know, kept everybody together,
Absolutely.
kind of a deal. And it's
Keep your
funny.
team.
And I always tell people, I'm like, there's my pre-COVID people, my COVID people, then
Right.
my after-COVID people. And I always tell my after-COVID people, I'm like, listen.
Right, it's
And
different.
I said, you have no idea what
What
we
we
went
went
through,
through,
you know,
yes.
together as a team, but we
Yeah.
became a bond.
Yeah,
you
close,
know,
very close
right?
knit. Yeah.
So close. And then you're an entrepreneur. You do this, you get it growing, you're moving. Top 3 things you think entrepreneurs should do when they do a business.
I think the first thing they should do is a business plan. Make sure the numbers work out, right? So make
Yeah.
sure it's profitable, right? You
Right.
got to do that, right? Make sure the numbers work out. I highly recommend, I know we're going to get to talk about books, but I got to share this one with you right now. There's 2 books I loved early on in my career. It's called The E-Myth
Yep.
and The E-Myth Revisited. And it's about working on the business and working in the business. And I think, you know, as an entrepreneur, when you first start, you're doing all the grit, the grind. You know, you're out there pounding the sales and doing what you can do to get
Right.
things going. But
Everything.
your cycle changes a
Yep.
little. You know, and then you start working more on the business, more strategically. So I think it's important that you have a good concept of working
Oh,
in
yeah.
and on the business. And then I think you have to value your people. I
Yeah.
think thirdly, you have to value the people that work for you. It's really important that you invest in them because without them, you don't have a company.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
invest in your people.
I
think it's
would
really
agree.
important.
But I would say too, like, you know, you go up and you go down.
Yes.
And you had people that you hire and they don't like, okay, why did I do that for? But you go through it and you just figure out the different pieces and all.
Yep.
And now, like, listen, you're a mom, you're real involved with them. And, you know, now, like, what do you do? You're all over the place. So when I go places and people say I'm everywhere, I'm like, well, usually Laura's there too. So, you know, how do
Divide
you...
yourself up, right?
Totally. So how do you do it? Because I feel like it's a lot to manage all your people.
Yeah.
You have a huge team now.
Yeah.
And like, and
You have
then
to pick and choose. You know,
do.
what's important, what's priority, what's going to make the most sense for you.
Right.
I have some great salespeople that are out in the field. I have top recruiters that can now get get out there.
Yeah.
So utilize their strengths,
Yep.
you know. So, and the other thing too, I think as an entrepreneur, you got to surround yourself with people that, you know, are smarter than you,
Yep.
have different talents that you are, that you have, that are diverse in the way they think and the way they look at things, because all those people bring a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that only adds to the enhancement of your business.
Oh yeah. What do you think about the economy? How's that affecting you guys?
I think things are slowing down a little bit, but I can tell you, I mean, I think the market's turning because of we're able to fill jobs faster.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
last year,
I totally agree.
I was not able to fill jobs as fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we were diligent, and it took some time, and we did a lot of digging
Yep.
to uncover the people. But now it seems that there's more people available. I mean, we post a job, and now we're getting lots of resumes,
Yes.
and that's kind of scary. In 30, 40 resumes, a 2-day posting, people are out of work now.
Yeah.
So things are changing. Marcia, I really think by the end of the year, it might turn back to a little bit more like an employer's market. It might do that.
Yeah.
People they're hurry up and waiting, and they're reevaluating. I think employers overhired during COVID.
They did a lot.
Yeah.
Especially the big guys.
I think
Yeah.
and that's what we're seeing, the layoffs from high-end tech industry. But HR people are so needed.
I know.
They can't find enough of them, because a lot of our HR people got so burned out, unfortunately, during COVID, and they're retiring
Yep.
in droves.
In droves.
So I get emails once a week, probably. I'm out of here. They're an HR person.
Yeah.
I'm retiring.
Yeah, totally different.
So for folks going into HR, they're so needed.
Yeah.
And obviously, I have a daughter going in the medical profession. That's so needed too.
Oh, medical's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
The
tell people all
nurses
the
and
time.
things like that,
I said,
they're-
just stay in that
demand.
world. Yeah.
The demand is gonna
I
be
see
so high.
manufacturing getting bigger too right
It
now.
is.
You know, I'm seeing a lot
It
more
is.
need around that. I see because I
Training
think
too for them.
absolutely training, but also there's all stuff is coming back on shore.
Yes.
You know, so they're trying to like reboot all that, which will be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. So I think companies are they're a little maybe too far leveraged, and I think they're trying to make some changes and
Yeah.
maybe either get rid of dead weight or just overhired.
Yep.
And they're reconsolidating their footprints.
Yeah.
So big locations of companies and organizations don't have those big locations
No.
anymore due to footprint. The commercial real estate
They know.
has changed,
Yeah.
and people change. But the other thing too is it is different, because now you have to onboard people in a
Yeah.
virtual environment. So that's a challenge to employers.
Huge.
Yeah. So even on the recruitment side, if they're
Yeah.
bringing on somebody.
But
So
the
that's
hybrid
gonna
stuff
be
is
good.
interesting because I'm learning.
of
Like
hybrid.
someone told me the other day that he's in financial wealth management. He said, you know, what's going to be scary is all these big corporate leases are up.
Start to expire.
And, you know, there's nobody really saying, I'm going to replace that.
Not yet.
And so there's going to be a lot of that on the market. And, you know, that's going to be like an explosion too. So it's going to trickle down
Yeah.
through the way. So it'll be really interesting to see
And
where
I
the
think
trends are going
companies
to
will
be.
be creative. They already are. They're
Yeah.
redesigning their spaces.
Totally.
They're bringing people in for, brainstorming activities, events. They're purposely bringing people in for events.
Correct.
But then we have people too, as we're interviewing candidates, they say, you know what, I don't want to work behind my desk at my house anymore.
Right.
I want to go into an office. Some people need to be in an office.
Yep.
And then there's others that are like, there's no way I'm going back.
Right.
I think as an employer, you have to be flexible.
Totally do.
And you have to meet your employees where they are in order to build a good team.
Totally agree.
I think even the big guys are going to have to do that too. I can't just force people back in.
Well, I don't think so, but I think it depends on what city you're at. Like in
Right.
New York, everybody's back.
They are.
Everybody's back.
Yep.
You go to Raleigh, nobody's back.
Nobody's back. Right.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like completely dead silence there.
King of
And-
Prussia, empty.
It's empty, right?
Empty.
And
Parking
it's
lots.
so strange to see that because you're like, is it a holiday? You know,
And people are doing hybrid. They're doing 2 days at home, 3 days in the office, or 3 days at
Yeah.
home and 2 days in the office.
Well, when it's nice
we get a
out.
lot of jobs too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of jobs in people, and they're more to say, okay, you can work remote, but it's really hybrid. But we want you close by because
Yeah.
we want you to come in a couple days.
It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
I see that. And then obviously you've raised your daughters. Your daughters are in college, and
Yeah.
you know,
Actually,
but
they
one of them did something really cool, and I know you had a massive influence in this, Laura. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, my daughter started a nonprofit called Girl Spark. Gosh, it was back 5 years ago when she was a junior in high school. And, you know, she was in a difficult path and difficult time at the time herself. And, you know, she said, Mom, you know, you go out as an entrepreneur, you go out to all these women empowerment things. And I bring back really cool stuff. Like I bring back Brene Brown, and we talk about Amy Cuddy, and here's the organizing lady, and here's how you do a budget. And when she got to the big high school, because she went to a small school, grade school, she's like, Mom, there's a lot of girls here that have a lot more problems than I do. She's like, can't you do a professional development day for teen girls on their well-being and their mental health? Like, you go out and get all this great stuff for you. Why can't you do it for younger girls?
Right.
And I'm like, Julia, I'm sure you can find this somewhere else. Like, so for bad mom for a couple of years, but I got her healthy.
Yep.
And she was started looking for places. And, by her junior year in high school, she says, Mom, she's like, I can't find this anywhere out there.
Right.
I said, you get girls behind you and then I will help you.
It's awesome.
So that night she comes down, Mom, I got the girls, she's on Instagram with 1,000 followers and in their high school, they're juniors. I said, who's coming? So they ran down the list, and next day, 15 girls show up around my dining room table with their laptops, iPads, whatever. Julia opens up her computer, and she goes, Mom, I got the name. It's called Girls Inspire, Beautiful Rose in the Eye. And I said, you share your vision. And she had all these topics: bullying, harassment, self-confidence, defend yourself, like all these kinds of things, mental health, anxiety, depression, stress. And I said, this is a great vision. I said, I think you're onto something. You share it with your girls and see what they think.
Yeah.
And then together she did. In a matter of seconds, Girls Inspired was taken, that domain's taken, that's taken, this taken. So they brainstormed and they came up with this name, Girls Spark, and it sits on 3 pillars: ignite, overcome, and inspire.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's about igniting awareness, overcoming adversity, inspiring others for change. And we put our first summit. These girls met at my house the first Sunday of every month. We project managed the summit, and we put it on at Delaware County Community College in 2019. Was the first summit. 153 girls came. It was fantastic.
Congratulations.
So it was great. And we had a fiscal sponsor, the Women's Commission in Delaware County, the Friends of the Women's Commission. And we thought it had some legs because the volunteer ladies on my team helped me with all of this.
Love it.
So the adults, right? And they're like, we should do something. So we wound up making it into a nonprofit, and we pivoted. And over the years, we did virtual through
awesome.
COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We had our last summit in May of 2022 at Westchester University.
So
that was
exciting.
a great turnout.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we're having a Penn State May 20th. And we added a track for middle school girls because I had the middle school girl moms emailing me, barrages of emails.
Wow.
What about my middle schooler? They need help too.
Yeah.
And younger and younger. So
I
our
agree with
summit's
that.
bigger.
Nice.
We have middle school. We're expecting 300 attendees.
It's awesome.
We have 30 volunteers so far. We need about 15 more. Anybody wants to volunteer, get a hold of me.
You need
but
volunteers? I can put that out for you.
Yeah, we do need
we'll
some
put
volunteers.
We'll put it on our connector.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
yeah,
do.
we'll
Yeah,
get
we
that
do need
moving.
some
All right.
volunteers. Just because safety is of the utmost concern.
Sure.
All the volunteers have a criminal background check, child abuse clearance. They're all women, so got to make sure the safety for the kids. So
Totally
we're
get
really
it.
excited. We've got some phenomenal sponsors. Great things are happening, and that's how that thing blew up. So that's what's going on there. We hired our first part-timer for Spark. So yeah, we got some great things. And what makes it unique is that it's led by a group of teen girls. So what happens is every summer, Julia goes out and recruits teen girls in high school, and they vet all the program speakers. They vet the content. So the speakers, we go out and find them as the adults, and we say, okay, you're interested in this topic, here's this person, and they come and do a virtual workshop for us.
Yeah.
And the girls say, what about this? What about that? Well, how are you going to make it more engaging?
It's awesome.
What are you going to do? So my hardest job has been sometimes to tell women, no, not going to work out. But that's okay because, I refer them to another person I have a connection with. It might be better for an adult group or a professional women's networking group. They'll talk there, but it wasn't right for the teens because they have to drive it. It's their content. We're just really helping guide it.
But think about the entrepreneur journey you've gone through, and then your kids have seen you do all this. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it really helped them to say, if mom can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, her seeing that, I definitely think it had something to do with it.
Absolutely.
For sure.
your
Yeah, and
kids
I said, you get people in your team to help you, and there's powers in that.
Oh,
and there's powers in numbers.
Yeah.
And I think we're really affecting some great change. I mean, I think girls are thinking differently, and when they come now there and they leave, they feel inspired, they feel empowered, they have some mentors, and they have to realize along this journey and this path, they're not alone, Marcia. It's hard. COVID exacerbated the whole mental health thing. And, Julia was ahead of the curve in 2018 with this vision. And, 3 out of 5 girls now, I think, are suffering from depression, anxiety, and all of that before the age of 18. It's hard. So, what can we do on the preventative side? What can we do to help build up their well-being and build up their self-confidence so that they're really feeling good about the decision they make and the choices they make and about who they are and their self-worth?
Well, kudos to you for leading the charge and inspiring her to do that and to igniting that passion.
That's awesome. And I want to hear about your new one, too. You have something new coming out called Shadow Her, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
It's just for entrepreneurs. I find a lot of women in particular, they put themselves down an awful lot. They think that I can't do it. They go through the guilt mold. And I feel as if there's only 4% of entrepreneurs make it over $1 million.
Yeah, you said that. I couldn't believe it. Very surprised.
Crazy. Of that, 1 point, I think it's '07 are female. That's it. And so I was trying to find out why is
Give 'em
that,
a
and then
leg
I would
up.
ask people, and they would say, "Well, I have a business, we're doing okay. I just want to be mom, and I have my parents to take care of, and this and that." And they put so much on themselves, and they realize like, I'm good here. I don't deserve it. And I'm like, well, how can we get through that thing?
Right.
So my
The
course,
same mental, did their mind over matter? Same thing women are dealing with.
Same.
The girls are dealing with. Let's get them
Totally.
started when they're younger, thinking
And they've
differently.
got great businesses. And then I give it
Yeah.
up sometimes because it's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes and this and that. And I'm like,
We're
what?
our own worst enemy.
We
Got to get out of our
are.
heads.
We're brutal.
Got to get out of our heads.
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
And so it was basically a 6-month course where it's 4 hours each month of women who have businesses between 200K and $1 million and less than 10 years, and then helping them. But it's learning
further.
all the things that we learned the
Right.
hard way.
Right,
And
'cause we just
saying,
had to go
don't
through
forget
it.
to do this, don't forget to
Right.
do this, don't forget to do this. So it's not going to be just your book kind of session. And it's really learning that. And then they get, at the end, they get sponsored to go through a program. So
Yeah,
they
I
get
thought
accountability,
that
they
was
get a
the one.
coach and all.
That's great.
So they can actually really hit then that 1 million and have a team around them to make them feel comfortable, like I belong here.
I think that's fantastic.
So it's
I think
really
that's
cool.
Great. Yeah, we have a young girl who's doing the podcast at Girl Spark called, she's got a podcast herself called Spark Your Light.
Oh.
And her name's Jacqueline Gallo, and she's really a light.
So
and she
great.
started her business when she was
Yeah.
21 years old. So it's really cool. So she's, have that there. And,
Yeah.
and so young girls can see young
Yeah.
girls leading.
So
Which I think
great.
is really great. And some of our breakout sessions are
Yeah.
involved in that as well. So it's not only just about mental well-being, but we have financial
Yeah.
and all those kinds of different things too. So we're expanding because the girls are asking, this is what I need.
Yeah.
So we want to answer that call for them.
I think it's great. One of the things it's funny, I was already thinking about like a great tchotchke for you guys is like those, the little lights with your keys, they make you spark the light.
Oh,
And then,
yes, that's a great
It could be like
one.
a pusher for like an alarm, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
just a
great
thing like
tchotchke.
that.
We need
So,
some
right?
new ones. Yep.
And so people out there listening who have promotional products,
Yes.
great way to get your stuff out there, guys.
Yes, for sure.
And then as an entrepreneur, how would you what's top 2 things that you would say, you know what, I wish I didn't do this.
I wish I didn't do. Besides holding on to people a little too longer, that's like the number one thing. Like when I look back, I mean, I think sometimes I might have a little knee-jerk reaction to something. So something might come out of my mouth. It might not be as eloquent
Yeah.
as it maybe should sometimes when I speak to people.
Yeah.
So I just think that in general is something, we all have our things we got to work on. Sometimes it comes out maybe a little harsher than it should.
I've heard that.
But,
Yes.
that happens.
Is it because of our age, do you think?
Oh,
because
stop. It better not
no,
be.
because
The-
people
the
say to me,
50
like,
something,
that
I
was
don't
harsh.
know.
And I'm like,
That was harsh.
But it wasn't trying to be harsh.
No.
I was just getting it off my chest.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
but at my 30s, I would never have done that.
I think so.
You know?
Maybe it has a little bit to do with age. I don't know.
I just have no filter anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Be careful. We got to be
You know.
careful with that. Because the
Sorry.
younger folks, it's harder for that because
it's
they haven't been
brutal.
around us
Yeah.
long enough
The
to
turtle goes back in.
know. Yeah, right.
so-
right. So I think sometimes just a check myself kind of box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check
It's hard.
yourself before you say it.
It's hard because
Yeah.
you're like,
Right. Open mouth
you know,
and surface.
did
right,
you just say
exactly.
that? Oh.
No, you're right.
But
So
you're
that
like,
would be the other
okay,
thing.
live and learn.
Yeah.
We've all been down that road and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
just love it. And
Yeah.
it's just,
It's just
and then
true.
what's next for the Monarch Staffing?
Yeah, so we're really excited. I mean, we got a lot of great things happening. We're really honing in on our policy, processes, and procedures.
Ooh, that
So
sounds
we're
like
doing-
fun,
Yeah, that
Laura.
is fun. It's not me. I have somebody else taking the lead on that, right? How can we make it better?
Yeah.
How
have
can
to
we
do
make
that.
it bigger? So, increasing sales, working on our candidate pool,
Yeah.
working on increasing our clients and our
So
candidates,
great.
and continuing to grow.
Yeah.
We're all about continuing to grow and helping each other in their own
Sure.
in their own professional development,
Yeah.
right? I think it's all about accenting the strengths of the
Yeah.
people around you and, limiting their weaknesses and then finding out, who's right in what spot and then how to complement the rest of the team.
Yeah.
I think one thing we do really well, because we're a local boutique staffing agency, so we're right here in the Philadelphia region. We do a lot of grassroots. We're out in the community. We do a lot of give back with our social responsibility, like you do too, Marcia. It's all about the relationships.
All about
and
it.
the people that you meet. So I think continue to build in that regard is really going to help us grow our business as well.
I agree. I agree. And then I would say books. What are you reading?
The Luck Factor.
Ooh,
yeah,
I heard that one.
The Luck Factor.
Yeah? Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I am. I just got into it. It just started. It
Nice.
seems to be really good. And the one you recommended, Get Rich Lucky Bitch. I got 2 books going. I'm reading Get Rich Lucky Bitch too. I think that's great. You recommended that.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
and it's a fast flying one.
I'm reading too, so I'm like, I could do both.
Oh my
of them.
gosh, you should said it for your girls because in there it's all about the mindset.
I saw that. I'm
Oh my
going
gosh.
to give it to them this summer for their summer reading
And it's
for
just,
sure.
And it's just like, why aren't I like? Why can't I do that?
That's the same thing with the luck Factor.
Yeah. Oh, is it the same? Okay.
Same kind of thing.
It was really great. And so I had the book and I had it on Audible.
Oh, yeah,
and so I'm on the plane and I'm like, I could do both. This is great. And so I'm like reading.
And then he's reading too.
Yeah,
she's reading too.
That's
That's awesome.
And I was like, this is so great, you know? And then, of course, I have 5 ADHD. And I'm
Right.
like looking outside at the clouds and I'm coming back. I'm like, oh, what page am I on again? You know, I get the Kindle going.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that was like 10 pages.
Right.
Wow. But I listened to the whole thing.
That's awesome.
I just was not reading it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
great information and so
Great
simple. And one of the things
And
she
very
mentioned.
simple.
Right?
Very
Write down
down to
all
earth.
of where your money goes.
Right.
Write it all down.
Right.
And, you know, and
Journal
I
it,
just
journal.
redid that
Just
again.
like when you're on a diet, I'm
Yes.
forever fighting that battle too, right?
Oh,
Right,
let's
so,
not-
but
must we
journal
talk
it,
about that
journal-
right
no,
now?
no.
So
journal it, journal it, journal it.
I just it's funny, and when she said that, I did that, and I talked to one of my wealth guys. I said I wrote everything down and where I'm at, and I said I actually feel like at peace.
Yes.
You know, because I was thinking, I'm
breathe
like, well, I
a
think
little
I'm there,
better.
I think I'm there, and then I'm like, oh no, we're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here we go, kind of thing. But
And
it's
keep your
weird.
vision board going. I think
Yeah.
that's so important. Like, don't forget about your vision board, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, every year I ask my girls, and over the Christmas holiday, you know, we like, okay, what are we going to do on our vision boards for next year?
So
Like,
great.
What's it look like?
Yeah.
So what's on yours? So, you know, I really think it's important for female entrepreneurs, whether you're just starting out, midway through your career, you know, but, you know, even, you know, in our business, 20 some years, keep the vision board going,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because that keeps you energized. It's
Oh.
where you want to go. You know, you want to. I'm a big believer. You got to see it to believe it. Right?
Oh my
Put
God.
it out there.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
I have a board
Put it
right in
out
front
there
of
in the
me.
universe.
I'm
Yep.
on the phone and all too in my little spot in my office, and
Put
I
it out
have all
there.
my columns of our 4 things that we do, and I have numbers on the side, and I'm like, just remember where you're at, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
and
it's pretty
and
cool.
if anyone listening is looking for staffing help, call Monarch.
Yes.
Right? Call Monarch
Call Monarch.
Staffing. Put it out there to your local in the region. We do like the administrative, office support, customer service, sales, and marketing. Some HR folks. So a lot of contract work. So if you need that help, and if you want to invest in Girls Spark, we can use that light. So Ryan Gosling, if you're listening, we're ready for you anytime to go ahead and put that investment into Girls Spark. I know you have 4 daughters. So
Love
you
it.
know, we do need the help there
my
because we
God.
want to continue that. And, you know, for that, really start continuing conversation, open up clubs in schools for Girls Spark and really do that really well and keep those conversations going for those girls and then bring them in for this really day of empowerment. So
How do
put
people
it
get
out
a
there.
hold of you?
Get a hold of me. Get a hold of me at Kasper, Kasper, at monarchstaffing.com. That is my primary email. And if you're more interested in Spark, it's just Laura Kasper, Kasper, at girls, GIRLS, SPARK.com. Yep.
And I would say the one word that sums up Laura Kasper, what would that word be?
Positive.
Always.
Yeah.
The
I'm
day
real
I met you.
positive
One of the
person.
happiest people in my entire life, girlfriend.
Aw,
So
thank
I
you.
love it all the time. Because whenever I see Laura, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a hug and I'm going to get this happy face. And I'm probably going to get a butterfly
I'm
by
a
this
pretty
thing.
positive person.
Yeah.
I look at the glass half full. This is how I go through life. I just, you know, and I'm always about helping other people. I think it's
Yeah.
really important.
It's huge.
You know, if you can help them get what they're going to do, what they need, you'll eventually get what you're going to want.
Absolutely.
You know, like again, it's all about the relationships.
Yes.
And I think being positive and, you know, in the light of everything, I think you have to see that shining light somewhere.
You do.
You know, in the dark light, you got to see the shining. So I don't know. Spark is there and Monarch's there. We're both doing some good stuff, I think, in the world. So
Oh, I
it's all
think
good
you're
stuff.
doing more than good stuff, my dear. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for having on a show today. It's
Awesome.
always
Thank
good to
you.
see you. And
Great. Thanks for having me, Marcia. I
keep
really appreciate it.
doing some great stuff out there, honey.
Yeah,
Proud
and
of
you too.